Alright, it's time for the solutions for the multiplying by a monomial assignment, which is given to regular students. All you need to do is distribute on all these. So you take this, like it's 8 here, you multiply it through. 8 times 5x gives you 40x, and 8 times 7 is 56. The subtraction just stays there. Moving on to number 2, you take this 8 and times by both of those. You'll get 8 times p, which is 8p, and 8 times 5, which is 40. On 3, negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20, and the x stays with it. Negative 4 times 3 is going to give you negative 12, or just subtract 12. 6 times both of these guys, all you do is 6 times 7x is going to give you 42x. 6 times 2 is 12, the subtraction stays there. And then you take this and take the negative 5 and times by both of those. Negative 5 times b is just negative 5b, and negative 5 times 8 is negative 40, but we have subtract negative, same thing as adding positive, so plus 40. This one, a little bit different, and this one has a variable right there, but when you're multiplying a variable by a variable, all you have to do is add up the exponents. So right here, negative 6 times 3 is going to give you negative 18, and then r to the 6th times r is going to be r to the 7. You add their exponents. There's a little invisible 1 exponent on there. The next one, negative 6r to the 6 times 5 is just going to be negative 30r to the 6. Nothing changes with the r part, just 5 times negative 6. And 7 follows a similar pattern, negative 6x times 6x. Negative 6 times 6 is negative 36. X times x is x squared. And then negative 6x times negative 6 is going to be positive 36, and the x stays with it. When you're on to 8, multiplying both by negative 4, you'll get negative 16n, and then plus 24. And that brings us to the next section here. You just got to take 7 times by both of those, you'll get 14n, and 7 times 1 is just 7. And then this one you need to times both things by negative 7. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. The v stays there. And then negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Or you can just write this as subtract 28 right there. 5 times both of these, you'll get 20v. And 5 times 3 is 15. And then 7v times both of those. 7 times 6 is, 7 times negative 6 is negative 42. V times v is v squared. 7v times negative 6 is going to give me negative 42v. Next one, this one we had to multiply by a variable in addition to the 4. So 4 times 8 is going to give you 32. V times v is v squared. 4 times negative 4 gives you negative 16. And v times nothing, because v times the 1 there, there's no invisible nothing there, and it gives you v. Next one, negative 2 times both of those, you'll get negative 14x, and subtract 14. 3 times both of those, you'll get 3n, and then subtract 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times both of those will give you negative 24k, and minus 16. And the last two on the front, 3 times both of those will give you negative 21m, and then subtract 3. On 18, 2 times both of those will give you negative 2b, and then subtract 10. On 19, negative 2 times both of those will give you negative 2x, and then subtract 6. 3 times both of those will give you 21b, subtract 12. On 21, this time we have to times by an n with this factor here. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30, n times n is n squared. And then negative 5 times 8 gives me negative 40, and then n stays with it. Next one, you gotta take 6v and times both of those. 6v times negative v is going to give you negative 6v squared. And then 6v times negative 1 gives you negative 6v. And then on 23, you gotta times them both by negative 5b, again, have the variable going with it. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35. b times b is b squared. Negative 5b times negative 1 is just going to be 5b, but the sign switched from negative 5b to positive 5b. Next part, we need to times both of those by 8, give you negative 16x, and then minus 16. And this one, you times them both by 3, it'll give you 9x minus 9. Times them both by negative 4, you'll get negative 28r. Keep the r with it. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Negative 4 times both of those will give you positive 20x. And negative 4 times negative 7 is going to be positive 28. And then this one, you have to take the k and times it by both of those. So negative 7 times 4 gives you negative 28. K times k is k squared. Negative 7k times negative 1 is going to just switch the sign on it, so it's going to be positive 7k. Like that. And then we have our last section here. Times them both by 7, you'll get negative 56a, and then minus 42. Take the negative 8p to the third, and you have to times by both of those. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. And then p to the third times p, you're going to add the exponents. There's a little invisible 1 there. P to the third times p to the first is going to be p to the fourth. You add those exponents. And if you take negative 8p to the third and you times by negative 1, it's just going to change the sign on it. So now it's positive p. 8 times p to the third. And again, we're multiplying by a variable with a bigger exponent this time. Take the numbers and multiply them. 3 times negative 6n will give you negative 18. And then n to the fourth times n, you're going to add those exponents together. You'll get n to the fifth. 3n to the fourth times negative 3 is going to give you negative 9n to the fourth. This one you set to times them both by 2. You get 12n plus 8. This one you have to times by something more interesting. 7 times 3 is going to give you 21. X to the fourth times x is going to be x to the fifth. And then 7 times negative 5 is going to be negative 35. And x to the fourth stays with it. 5 times both of those will give you 5n. And then plus 25. This one here, when you times them both by negative 3b, and negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. B times b is b squared. And negative 3b times negative 8 is going to be positive 24b. And then negative 3 times both of those can give you negative 21a. And negative 3 times negative 7 is still negative 21. And there you go. And that's the whole assignment. A whole lot of distribution.